Are you interested in how I photograph and edit my builds, my mocks? That's what this video is about. I got two builds I'm photographing today. I got this little small one, which is basically already done. And this bigger one I took to Brick World 2024. I just got to add all these final details into the build. You basically clear your build area so you have a place to photograph. Stuff all your junk over there, you know. Now everything's all taken care of. All the details are added, at least initially, based on a reference photo from the convention. We can go on to step 2. The next thing is to get the paper out of here. I also got one of these things, which you don't need one of these things. I've just found it extremely helpful. It like goes up and like you can clip paper to it. You'll stick that behind the build. Next, I picked my paper color I want. I got quite a few. For this one, I think I'm just gonna stick with white. So I'm gonna go find a white and pull that out. Whoa! Let me just slide this. Of course, you can clip up your background however you want. This one does need to be a little higher because the build is so tall. And I also want to center this on my table so I can actually like get lights around it. Then next, I just kind of like put the build on there. One thing I'm noticing right away, which you can maybe see here, is I can see through the build, like the white, which is not great for photography. From a side angle, that definitely won't be a problem. If I'm going an immersive build, that would be a problem. I would want to swap this out to black or a darker color. I might actually swap this background to a darker color, depending on how I go about this. Right now, I think I want to just get an overall shot, sort of like you're seeing here in frame, not an immersive. Alright, so one of my next steps is just putting a light box over this. This is kind of like one of those pop-up light boxes I have. This is a pretty large one, a 32 by 32. This is kind of cool. So look, it pops into like a giant light box. Usually they come with like just one end open. I sliced out the bottom because it makes it so much easier to work with. Which is like, maybe you don't want to do that because they can be a little expensive and then you just like wreck it. But I find it so much easier to work with. Creating a little bit of room here so I can drop this over the build. What's up, guys? There we go. Basically, yeah, now light will be diffused through this light box, which is very good. We want diffused light. Now you can see the current lighting setup is just, I have these overhead like LED shop lights that I got going on here. And like, they're not terrible, but like, I want a little more control of my lighting. So that's where we're gonna set up these bad boys right up here. Only downside with these other lights is you gotta have more space for their tripods. Can be kind of difficult if you don't have a large building area like me. Mine isn't particularly large, especially when I have lots of like bins around. What the hey guy? Boom. That's one. Almost got stabbed in the face by a board. Would have been exciting. All right, now you can see there's these giant lights. You might be asking yourself, but Eli, why do you need diffusers on the lights when you already have a diffuser box? I'll say because it's better. The more diffused the light is, the better. It's going to be softer on the build and more evenly lit up, less glare, everything. It's worth it. I'm going to get the power cords out. Extension cord I throw out here. And the only thing you've got to be aware is don't trip on this, because if you trip and you fall on your build, GG. My lights have this little control here so you can see how much light you're putting out, like percentage wise. I like to keep mine around 60%. Ta-da! Now that those are plugged in and the build's going to be totally washed out right now, we can turn the main lights off. And so those are going to be our only lights. Now I just got to position them in the right positions. They're kind of just in the way right now. Okay, I'll also take this. This is like some diffuser sheet you can buy. And I will clip these over the top of this because we don't want light peeking around the front. This will then drape over the camera like old-timey photographers. I just kind of like throw it up top there until I'm ready. Because the next step is setting up the tripod that you guys are using right now. So we're going to be probably swapping over to the GoPro. Alright guys, see we're on the GoPro now. Here's the camera, the main camera right here. Got a Canon 70D. We got the preview screen up, so we're locking it in. As you can see right now, I think it needs to be taller. Based on the screen I'm seeing here, I want a taller angle, so I'm gonna have to extend the tripod. Kind of dark in here because we're not ready to take photos. We could just have the main lights on. Aye, my guy. And I always say that. I say, I, my guy. And I'm talking to Ouch. Yeah, my comrade Ouch. That's his name. Hello, Ouch. How are you doing? You guys don't even need to listen to this part. Go away. So right now I'm adjusting the camera angle so we can get the bestest of pictures. So number one important thing to do is I photograph in manual mode so I can fully control all the settings. So once I'm in manual mode, I swapped it up here as a main mode. Then I'm here on the screen. Anyway, I like to shoot at 11 f-stop. I keep my ISO at 100 and then I adjust the exposure time. So this is a little high right now. Pull that down. You can sort of see a meter at the bottom that shows it. It says it's really bright right now. I'll touch it, take a photo, and then I can review that photo. But another thing that I like to do is I tether my camera to my computer. So I have this, this USB extender up here that comes right down to here. I can pull it out and then I plug in a cable. So I'll do that. So once I plug in that cable, which I just did right here, I go to my computer and there's this program called EOS Utility. That's for Canon cameras, which is what I'm using. Then you come over here and I do remote live shooting. I get this thing over here, which I can basically control the settings on the camera. I'd like to do the live view shoot. It shows me what the camera's seeing. Now the thing is it's lower quality, so let me take a picture really quick. And instead of saving it to the SD card, it'll save it straight to my computer. So then I can actually see what it's gonna look like on a computer. And we can see everything like, oh, that's not really in focus how I wanted it to, or that is blown out, or etc, etc, etc. So this is really clutch. So basically I'll do a bunch of adjusting right now with the camera and how it looks like on the computer. I might even adjust the angle of this, make sure it's all crystal clear, and then once we get that final photo, then I will move on to editing. So I'm just gonna do a bunch of adjusting right now. While I'm doing this, I'm not set up into final photo mode. Once I get the angle and presentation and like everything ready for the final photo, that's when I'll unclip this and pull it over the camera. I'll show you that when I get to that point. And you can still make adjustments after that. It's just, I mean, you can already see stuff starts to get like really crowded in here. Starting to look kind of goofy because I draped over this diffuser. I'm shooting at an angle right now. And I had to clip this diffuser to the cable to kind of like get it out of the shot. As you can see, it's draping over, but I'm still getting a nice window and it's getting a nice diffuse. And as I'm reviewing stuff, I'm like, I really wish I could show more like this pillar and that pillar. It's to start when I have to grapple with the fact that I built this for convention viewing, not really for online viewing, so photographing it is difficult. So I'm gonna play with a few more angles. I already did some straight on ones I was decently happy with that I can work with if I want that. But you can see, as I was talking about, there's these white gaps and stuff. And then yeah, we might go through and play around with focus a little bit too. So everything seems to be okay for now, but we can make it even better. So here's the new angle that I took. That's the old one, new one. I like that you can see more of these things now, but I think I might just pick one of these and go with it, you know? We're at that point. Everything looks pretty good. We just got to make sure the fig isn't shaking in the wind, so he's not going to be blurry. Sick. I think I'd pick one of these and go to editing. There is still a chance that in editing I realize I want to retake the photo, which would suck, but I think with this one I don't care as much. POV or me. Is he in focus-ish? Do we like it? I don't know. Do we like it? Do I like it? I think I like it a little bit. I like it a little bit. I do like it. Indeed, I like it a little bit. Well, first things first, I duplicate the layers so I can have a backup or I can see what the original photo was. And then what I like to do is I open Camera Raw filter. So in here, I'm gonna go to play with the lighting. I don't like the auto. What I always do though is I want to work on details. So let's go down here. I want to sharpen up to like sharpness around like here, and then I noise reduce. And you can kind of like see the difference. I think this helps a lot with making it sharper. I will go to lighting. I'm going to play around with this because I want to see what their auto coloring actually is, because sometimes my coloring is wrong out of my camera. So it's barely saying to change the color at all auto wise. You can see if it was like too blue, it'd be like that. If it was too yellow, it'd be like that. And sometimes I'll have it too green too, which is awful. Look at that, our shot is pretty good. Lighting, we could play around with lighting. Exposure, no thank you. We do not. Auto-wise is what they're saying. I don't like that, to be honest. I don't like that at all. The color mixer, this is what I'll go check. And sometimes I'll change saturation on stuff. So like this blue is not very saturated right now, so I could saturate that a little bit. I think yellows and oranges are, yeah, yellows. Reds are going to be like browns in this case, in the dark red, so I could boost that a little bit, I think. You guys aren't seeing this exactly, but this is my main monitor. My second monitor is a different monitor, and I'll sometimes pull this over just to see what it looks like on the other monitor. So I think I'm good with this filter, so I'll hit OK, and that applies it. And I can toggle between the old one and the new one. You can't really tell. Let's do a little crop, this will kind of give us our bearings. Why does the lighting just look so bad all of a sudden? Has it always been that way? See, when you get in here too, you start realizing, do I even like the framing? Look how, yikes, bro, that's not it, that's not it. And then I'm tempted to like just edit out the background, you know? I'm gonna use this tool called Spot Healing Brush on the photo. This is, I'll go through and just like fix like dust. There's this dust right here. Bam, it's gone. And like dead pixels on the camera, this will help with. Like, look at this. Boom, fixed. This, that's fixed. It's tempting to like get rid of these, but that is part of the Lego piece, unfortunately, so I'm gonna leave it. I mean, a lot of that doesn't really matter, ultimately. See, this is glare right here. Like, I could try to do that, but it's more obvious. There's things you can do with that. I don't think that piece of glare matters too much, but what I could do is I'd go to brush, and I'm gonna like select the color like right here, and then I'm just gonna like paint. And on this new layer, I'm gonna just paint over this, like this. And then I'm gonna drop the opacity down. See, look, now it's bright. And now it's like, it's still there. It's just like, it's not gonna stand out anymore like a bright spot. See, we did get some light leaking through, so we could do that same thing. I'm gonna do a test really quick, actually. I'm gonna do we can do a selection subject. It's gonna like use an AI program to kind of like auto select the entire build, which it definitely didn't get it correct because it messed up here. Because what I could do is I could do like a mask, like swap any color into the background, which that looks pretty hot, not gonna lie. If we swap to a background like that, that might be worth it. So like fixing this mask so it's not like destroying the actual photo or the build. It's just, this is where it's like, is it worth it, you know, for all the masking? If it was a mainline build, yes, but like look at, ugh. That's where like photographing on this kind of paper to begin with would make this so much easier. But that's just kind of like a way we can preview what it would look like. Is it worth me going back and swapping the paper out? It might be. I made a black layer and then a mask on it. Sometimes I like just going by the brush though, more of a feel kind of thing than just like if I'm doing the I've never done this selection like this before. Obviously it's way too dark. That's what it was. And we can, you know, we can like control the darkness of the base, which is nice. Make it stand out a little bit more. Obviously we don't want it like that because then you can't even see the pieces, so. This is where I might go back to camera raw, actually. I'm gonna duplicate this, okay, and then I'm gonna filter this again. Filter, camera raw filter. So this is not showing like all those other edits I did. See the auto, and then just I'll take away the parts I don't like. Now's when I am like, I don't like that the background isn't as white as it could be. This is when you probably would wanna just edit out the background. I'm gonna export something like this and just see what it's like. Export as PNG. Honestly, I don't hate it. Now's when I do a Flickr test though. See if I like it on Flickr. I could post that right now. I'd be pretty happy with it, I think. Sometimes exporting is just all you need to know if you like it or not. And basically, yeah, as soon as I uploaded it to Flickr, I was looking at it and realized I don't like this. I'm going to do the long route and just edit out the entire mask. Here's a big montage of me just really working down the mask so it's really tight and you can still see the build. This is just so I have more flexibility in how I present it, since I'm choosing not to go back and change the paper color. This process does take a long time. This might be the longest part of the whole build. I think this took me maybe 40 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes? I don't even remember. But yeah, it's very tedious, but it's worth it in the end for presentation. It saved me from like redoing all the photos. Yeah, so then I re-upload it to Flickr and check how it looks. And I like the white background, it like stands out, but it's almost too white. Which just made me remember a different presentation style I do, which is gradients. So I'm doing another gradient run. I'm going through and trying out gradients for the background. I settled on one I really like with some blue and yellow. Alright, next we're going to do a shadow on the base. This is one of the final details I wanted to add. And so I duplicate the mask I had of the darkener. And I can feather that, put it underneath the build, and I can make a nice subtle shadow under the build. And pretty much after that, I'm pretty happy with how the build turned out. This is kind of the compromise from going back and rephotographing it. I think this looks really good too though, so. And then in this final clip, I'm just fixing a bunch of mistakes that happened along the way. Yo, thank you for watching. Hopefully this video was helpful and you saw how I edit. I am no perfect editor. In fact, I'm always learning, and hopefully that was evident. You can also learn how to edit and do good photos. You don't need gear like I have. You can use all sorts of gear. I've worked up to this over years of just learning how to do my own photos. So, and thank you for watching. Enjoy. Goodbye.